Hello and welcome to Waiting for Game, podcast presented to you by Melee Stats. I am here today on the eve of a very fateful day. We're going to be talking to some people from Summit 13, possibly. Sorry, Summit 12, possibly. We're down to the thick of it. We're the eve of day 3 of voting, and with me here, in addition to my co-host Edwin Budding, we've got the only Donkey Kong, the only prospective Donkey Kong at Summit, and the only prospective Chic at Summit. We're talking to someone who's probably been to more summits than Armada, and someone who, as far as I know, has never been to a summit.
Nope.
We're talking to Ringler. We're talking to Free Palestine. What is up, fellas?
Hey.
Hey,
Not much?
I feel like that's not right. I think there is a lot going on.
There is.
You guys have been, the fact that you are this far in voting, by the virtue of that, pretty much shows how much you've been giving yourself into it. Before we get into it, I do want to say, so we've got 2 slots up. There are also 2 other people. Noel was supposed to be on the show. Unfortunately, he's on Mango's stream, which I'm not sure if that takes precedence over Melee Stats, but, everyone has their own ideas. And Slug, very funny story. We reached out to a few people when there's 8 people left in voting. We reached out to 4 of them because we're going to be like, okay, like we have a hit rate of like 50%. We got but we're probably going to speak to 2 people who end up not making it, have a last chance, a little fun shill time. And then Tyler Swift got in.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of a conundrum there. But yeah, check out Null, check out Slug. It's kind of a cool thing we got going on with the last 4 people. We've got a Chic, a Fox, an Ices, and a Donkey Kong, which, if you are a fan of someone like Null, he's like an up-and-comer, he's really deserves it. If you're a fan of someone like Slug, the only person who's really doing high-level Ices results, he deserves it. But we're going to be talking to 2 people who also deserve it today.
I would argue that they actually deserve it even more because they appeared on the show.
Because they're on our show, yeah.
Right.
Truly.
It counts for, that's like 80% of it.
If you think about it, we were here ready twice. In
True.
reality.
You were here.
True.
True.
And you'd be ready a 3rd time if
That's
it
right.
came to that.
Tomorrow
I
morning,
dare
2
say
PM,
we're
help
the
me
only
out.
ones trying.
I don't know, because it does feel like the 3 people who already made it in kind of tried. You guys want to talk about the 3 people who made it in? So we have Magi, who, my Summit knowledge is not up to date. I think she made Summit 9 through voting, but I believe she's only been to 1 Summit.
Okay.
So this would be her 2nd. And then we have 2 people who've never been to Summit before. We have
Well, unless you count unless you count Online Summit, she was there as well.
True, yeah. I guess difference between at Summit and
Yeah.
at computer playing in Summit. But yeah, so we have Magi making her 2nd offline Summit, and Tyler Swift making his 1st, and Australia's own Sora making his 1st. So I think it should be pretty cool. And you look at the 4 people remaining, as far as competitors go, in main bracket, no one here has made it to Summit. So it should be cool no matter what we see. But yeah, you guys want to talk about what we saw before? Because it's like Summit season every year. I think we think we know so much about it, right? We go in being like, I can't see anything else new. I know everything. And it just constantly evolves. Like there's a meta there that I am too dumb to understand, but suddenly Tyler Swift gets in and it's like, okay, there's something at play here that I don't know. But yeah, let's talk about it, because I think that what happened was when nominations opened up, I think the general tenor of the event was that it was not as easy, or it's not as difficult to get in as it usually is, but as more people opted in and as more people threw their hats in the ring, I feel like it's same as it always is. But yeah, talking to 2 people who actually have to put themselves out there, what do you guys think? Ringler, you are someone who's been to summits quite a lot. But is this your first time as a competitor that you're going through the voting process?
There was one where first time I made it to the voting process. There was one that I was, how there's 20 people from Twitter. Yeah. I got 21st at one of those, which was it was after a Genesis, because I filmed me screaming my my Gilbert Gottfried impression as my video, and it at 21st, not. almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Free Palestine, I think you this is the first time of you like really going for it, right? I think there was a lot of Midwest team kills, right? Or am I not getting it
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I personally didn't. I mean, I've always, it's kind of like if you're a good melee player, you want to go because it's like a cool,
True. Yeah.
there's a reason why we want to go. But always seeing like people from my greater region, not even in Ohio, campaigning. I didn't want to, split votes between other Midwesterners who, to be honest, probably deserved it more than me at that time. Ginger, Reeve were all on their grind and stuff, and they really put their hearts out into campaigning. So I never wanted to like step on their toes or anything. But this time around, we pretty much had no Midwest. I mean, Ben ran, but didn't put. He said he didn't put too much into it because he was really busy with other stuff. And so I figured this would be a good time to, maybe show what the Midwest can do. But yeah, it's the first, and I'm saying it now, the only time I'm going to be hitting that nominate me button and writing something in, because it is a little stressful.
Well, I hope it ends up being worth it. But yeah, like I said, you guys not new to the campaigning aspect, but definitely as far as this is kind of new territory. But did you notice a difference between like how hard people had to campaign in years past and this year? Because like I said, that was kind of what people were thinking on Twitter, but I feel like with Summit it always ramps up. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, if that like rang true or if that just didn't feel right.
No, I think it did. Because what I've noticed about this summit, and this is a trend that I noticed about starting with this one that I like, is I feel like things are becoming much more content driven. Like that was the premise of my whole campaign, is just like, I don't want to like eat onions or whatever. Let's do content. Let's put things in front of people that they're going to watch and laugh at. But just for the sake of people's like physical health, I hope things don't like escalate further in the just like, well, how can I abuse my body to get people to give me money? I would like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that Tyler Swift got in before 150,000 votes.
That's true.
We don't need to describe what that is, but
Yeah.
let's just say it's a good thing.
One of the big things I noticed, because, I mean, like you said, eating onions or something like that, the thing I notice now that I have to, do this is how like, not insidious, but like how kind of there's like a lot of information, true or not true, like about vote counts, who's voting for who's got VIPs and stuff, that is like, you hear different things from people that both tell you that they're saying the right thing, but like both things can't be true, but they're both like not trying to lie. That's just because the information they got might be wrong or whatever. And it's just kind of been interesting to just like figure out and try to like, I guess, understand what the hell's going on, because a lot of times no one knows, but people will say like they do. And so that's kind of like, that's the thing I've noticed now that I'm kind of inside of the actual voting process more so. It's kind of been interesting to look at that.
Yeah, we are playing mind chess here. This is chess of the mind.
Yeah, and that definitely happened earlier in this voting season too. I'm not going to specify exactly what happened, but there's definitely some mind games being played, and it worked out. That's all I'm going to say.
It's like you're in like an Aaron Sorkin show or something, right? Just like the lamest version of it.
Yeah, right.
But I would argue the best version of it.
Actually, you know what? True. I will agree.
Aaron Sorkin needs to write more low-stakes stuff.
He needs to write more about like niche gaming cultures.
Yeah,
right?
No, exactly.
I cannot imagine what that would look like with Aaron.
He says the same thing in every script.
Yeah,
how will Aaron Sorkin how will he do his like whole like one of my favorite constants, and by favorite I mean least favorite constants with Aaron Sorkin, is how he always has like an older like guy character with like this like younger attractive woman that's like looking at him for like mentorship or whatever, and he has to like show her the ropes and tell her that she like doesn't know what she's doing. That's a Sorkin classic in like all his material.
That would be, in my version, that would be the main character's opening a pizzeria and he's showing the line cooks how to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into Aaron Sorkin because I had like I had a banger segue that I was going to hit, but we'll save that one for a bit. There's a video online that I watched in high school, and I like every now and then I'll still check on it and make sure it's still on the internet. It's called Sorkinisms, and it's just all of his shows, and it's clips of people saying literally the same exact thing, and it'll show like a character in a something will be like, I can buy his house and make him my own personal ping pong room, and then it shows like 10 characters throughout like 10 different shows say the same exact thing. So a little bit before plugs, we're gonna get the plugs at the end of the show. But if anyone wants to check out Sorkinisms, you can. But Ringler, what you mentioned earlier about it's a content driven summit. I think that is cool because what it does is it kind of levels the playing field in a way. I think ever since Summit kind of started to get on with it and like became this kind of big snowball, it became less about like no one deserves to be in a Summit, right? Like skill for Summit doesn't necessarily matter. Yeah. And I think we're kind of getting to the point where like, look, we have 2 unranked players. We have Sora and Tyler Swift, both who are very good. You know, not being top 100 doesn't mean that they're trash, especially because we haven't had a top 100 in a little bit. And then Magi, who, you know, for all that she's like done, still relatively new. So I think it's really cool to see 3 players like that, like be able to make it in, and the remaining 3 players that we have, like you know, Free Palestine, you were top 100, you were also 101. But we've got 3 people who were not top 100. We've got up-and-comers. We've got different characters. And I think that's like one of those really cool things. Like we're seeing
4 people who are not top 100 now, right?
How do you mean?
Wait, I am confused by this assertion.
Wait, you said there were 3 people now, right?
Yeah, Slug's not top 100. Null's not top 100. Ringler's not top 100.
Oh no, that's right.
Free Palestine is 72nd.
He made it.
I don't know. Edwin, you've said I was former.
I forgot.
Before. I remember that. I don't forget, Edwin. I thought, I thought there's been one list,
Did you know this is how I introduced myself to
I forgot.
Free Palestine.
I
it was at a
correct
Genesis 7 after party, and I said, Mr. 72. And you went, you're the only one who's got the number right. And I'm doing it off the top of my head. I hope it is 72.
You're right.
Nice.
You're
See?
right.
Old Wheat still got it. But the point is, I think that the content focused, like what we are seeing from Summit is it's not about who's the best who's still around. Like none isn't in the voting phase anymore. It's about who gives it their all. And I think what it leads to is it leads to a lot of really cool people who are going to see in. Like we have a Pikachu in Summit and it's not Axe. And that's crazy to see. But like, what did you guys think of who made it first? We have Sora, we have Magi, we have Tyler Swift. Edwin, I know that we have been like Sora believers for a while. What do you think about him?
Yeah, so I just want to kind of like complete or add on to the point that you were making, that I think this is kind of a lot of this has always been the case with Summit, but I think you really see it now that we're in this post like Nick Yingling world, right? Yeah. I think it's really cool that we see like that we not only see the remaining candidates like, proving themselves as competitors and trying to be active and like showing interest in that stuff again, but also even just like, the ability to understand that like we have to actually put in effort into marketing ourselves, making short videos for engagement, stuff like that. And all the videos most of the videos for the candidates are pretty good. Like they aren't just like thrown in at the last moment. There was one video that I thought was absolutely terrible, which involved one of the candidates playing a guitar and playing an unrecognizable song. But
I big disagree. I think that is the most Sigma move. No gameplay.
I thought. I don't want to go into it too much, but sorry, Wheat, you did ask about Sora, so I should go back to that. So I did a bit of like a regional preview for the Smash World Tour, like or about each of the regions in the Smash World Tour way back. And one of the things that I noticed about Sora is that he just like dominates Australia. Like he destroys a ton of their good players. And Australia is like very solid. Like the second best active player there right now is Sock, who's like a pretty good Fox, who I think in like a normal year of exposure against like the North American field would make it onto the nominee list of a
he beat
top
France at Genesis 7.
Yeah. He beat Franz at Genesis 7. I know when Sora came to the United States, he had a pretty good local showing where he beat like Curve, Zella, and even Android Zero, who, if you've been watching the show for a while, you'll know he's the greatest player of all time. Cannot be stopped. So for Sora to take a set from him, I think is pretty impressive. And the fact that he has just been farming Australia for a while now, for about a year and a half, it almost kind of reminds me of the same position that Spud was in before he went to Summit. So when we're talking about Sora, this is someone who's in a pretty isolated region. I think at a tournament like Summit, which is going to be so stacked, it's very hard to stand out in that kind of field. But hopefully this is the first chapter of what's going to be a bigger American trip for Sora and the rest of the Australians. And in particular, I think if you need a headspace to think of how you should expect Sora to look like heading into this event, I don't think it's too soon to say that he's about as good as as the kind of up and rising or the up and coming rising top 50-ish Fox player. I think this guy is really legit, and he's gonna, and I wouldn't sleep on him at Summit at all.
Yeah, and Sora's also someone who, like you said, isolated region and whatnot, but still doesn't just sit there and go, well, there's nothing I could do. The amount of VOD review and set analysis and how dedicated he is to studying specific stuff, really shows. And that's how you stay improving in a situation like that. And yeah, I think Sock, Don B, and Sora are all coming here for a year. So hopefully we'll be seeing them all over for a while. That'd be great. Cause yeah, like you said, they're all great players. So it'll be, and I think there is something that differentiates Sora, and that's at least his accent. If you look at all those all the people at Summit, one of them stands out.
True.
He needs to get on the mic.
He's also tall.
How tall is he?
He's also got nasty characters, his Chic and Martha.
We've been talking about Chic a lot, me and him. Yeah, we're in the lab about Chic stuff. So yeah, I told him that I had to stay the only Chic at Summit, so he couldn't tell people that he plays Chic. But I think he's all Fox anyways in bracket, in general. But we're still gonna stick with that for now. It helps.
Kind of what happens when you're best in your region, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're just oh yeah, my Captain Falcon is really good because I just play that now. Because
everyone else quits if I play Fox. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I remember when Rudolph came to America, he would just go Fox and Chic all the time. Along with Marth. He went mainly Marth, but he just was wait, why is he going Fox versus Plup? Yeah, but always fun stuff. Fun, really cool to see Sora. Cause yeah, I mean Edwin, usually crazy, but him saying that he's on the level of an up and coming Fox player. We see people like Null and Zealot do really, really well at all these majors. And I honestly think that Sora would do just as well. It's just the fact that we haven't gotten a chance to see him. But with Summit coming up and Smash World Tour, he's going to Genesis. I think he's going to... Free Palestine, I think you're right. He's going to be in America for a long time. So I hope to see whatever results come from that. I think it would be really good. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about another player who made it in, who is kind of... maybe a little under the radar. But let's talk about Tyler Swift, because he was a player who I think he was really known as the next best Pikachu, which is kind of a title that didn't mean a lot for a while. But he just got better and better and better. And he is a box Pikachu, I believe, and a box Fox, both of which are really good. And really put his name on the map when he beat, it was Kadoran, he beat H-Box, he had another really good win.
Aklo. Beat Aklo.
Aklo. Well, he just took a set off Aklo recently at the last nightclub. His ability to play well with both Fox and Pikachu is pretty amazing. Anoke, what do you or Edwin, what do you think about him?
I want to bring up actually some numbers around Tyler Swift. So what you guys will know is that before every summit or every major, I usually do a breakdown of the players to look out for. And for Summit, because it's 16 people, I usually just break down each of the players' chances within the field and sort of what their results have been like in recent times of the year, right? So I'm going to list some numbers. Tyler Swift, in the last 4.5 months, is 1-1 versus H-Box. He's 1-0 versus Kadoran. He's 2-2 versus Aklo. 1-1 versus Logan. That one of the sets happened at Riptide infamously when Tyler Swift's controller literally malfunctioned.
Oh.
3-0 versus J-Flex, winning a nightclub over him.
That's kind of crazy.
Did he play Fox
versus JoJo.
Was he playing Pikachu the whole time versus J-Flex?
I think he played Pikachu, if I'm not mistaken.
That's insane.
So 3-0 versus J-Flex, 2-0 versus JoJo, 1-0 versus Whiskers, and 1-0 versus Null. His only losses outside of this group, as far as I know, at like big events. I think he might have lost a cave to Juicebox, but other than that, it came to None and Ben. Now I want to ask you something. Out of all those results I just listed, do you think how does Axe perform against that same group of players?
Ooh. Oh, wow! Really putting us on. It's
scary, isn't it? Is it too soon to say?
Well, I think he beats Kadoran.
Probably. Yeah, Axe beats Kadoran and Logan.
I don't think we have
to. Axe go 3-0 versus J-Flex or 2-2 versus Aklo?
Could he beat H-Box?
That's what I'm thinking. Is like that's a big wall.
That is, yeah.
I think it's
you know what I mean. Like it's closer than
25-1 or something. It's 20-something-1.
It's like hopeless at this point, honestly.
I don't know, one man.
And you know, Edwin, that's a funny question because like at the start of the season, I remember I was in a lot of streams just watching what players were thinking of like the noms, and I was watching Axe stream and he got to Tyler Swift, and the first line he said was, you know, it's Tyler Swift says, "I'm the second best Pikachu in the world," right? That's what Tyler says, and he goes, "Well, I think there's some people that would disagree with that." And I'm like, "Damn, Axe is telling you maybe not." I was like, "That's
well, it's scary close."
Yeah,
and because of the Fox, Fox, like that's something that like there's going to be so many matchups that like if you see even Axe versus Trail in tournament is kind of scary for him, right? Like Axe, I'm not saying like he'll lose all the time. I'm just saying like that's something that you have to worry about with him. With Tyler Swift, there's so many matchups that normally with Pikachu that you'd be scared of, but his Fox is really good. It's really scary.
Being able to break up Pikachu's matchup spread like that with Fox is like that's meta. It's like because do you really want to sit through every potential like Pikachu Icy's matchup? Like probably not.
And
if you can avoid that.
I can't hate because I lost to Axe's Falco after beating his Pikachu. So I can't act like his Falco's not, not worth something. But I made him switch off Pikachu, and then I lost to the Falco. I smashed Gamble.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, just wasn't ready. But I don't think that Axe uses Falco the same way that Tyler Swift uses Fox. I guess.
Yeah.
Like he's sometimes like I guess same thing with Younglink because we sometimes see the Axe Younglink that kind of counts as like a secondary or niche character he sometimes plays against. I don't know, Puff. I guess
it definitely feels like there are when Axe doesn't go Pikachu, it's like it's a backup, and that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to how good he is that his backup character does so well. That's just he's one of the best players of all time. But with Tyler Swift, it doesn't feel like a backup when he goes Fox. He doesn't go Fox because he got discouraged from losing his Pikachu. It feels calculated, and it feels like he's like, okay, I'm going to play Fox versus Puff, and I'm going to learn the matchup, and I'm going to be one of the best Fox versus Puffs of my skill range. And I think his ability to like do that, I think it's weird. Like when you, I don't know. Maybe someone who plays a mid tier here will be able to help me figure this one out more. But it is funny to like pick a top tier for matches, and it's like, well, I'm sure Fox just does better versus almost every character than Pikachu. So, like, at what point do you say, okay, here's the cutoff? But I'm not really worried about it when it comes to that because I think like the way that I see him play, he seems like he's very confident in the matches where he goes Pikachu, and he seems like he's very confident in the matches where he goes Fox. And when you have people like Axe who like switch off characters, sometimes it's a lack of confidence that's why the character switch is. And I think the character switch from Tyler Swift is like completely the opposite, right? It's because he's so confident in his Fox that he'll do that, and the Fox it's like practice, it's ready for the matchup. But yeah, Ringler, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. I know you're someone who's seen success without the need for a secondary.
But it's also like, for one, like DK's matchup spread, I feel like it's he doesn't have like good winning matchups, but I don't think it's quite as bad as like Pikachu Chic or something. But no, I agree with what you're saying, where it's like There's the like low tier or mid tier player who there's three types. There's ones who stick it out for every matchup, just either from passion for their character or whatever. There's the mid tier with a secondary that they always go in certain matchups. And then there's the mid tier where it's like, okay, I have these other good characters and I feel like I'm running into a wall with my main. How could I break that up and get through? And I think Axe is more of that third, because I think Axe is very passionate about his character, obviously. I think he would want to play Pikachu in any matchup that he thought he could, like, really win it with. So I think, like, what I'm saying is just I agree with you. I think Tyler, there's much more of a game plan there that doesn't feel like it's being disrupted as much as it is with like Axe bringing out a Falco against a character or his Young Link, where it's more along the lines of like, okay, but the Pikachu didn't work. I need to find something that does.
Yeah, it's counter pick instead of, like you said, prepared, right? It's like Axe will lose game one and be like, dang, I lost game one bad. Let me switch versus starting game one not as Pikachu. But I guess it's kind of like also hard to like start that if you're Axe and not just click Pikachu on the character select screen and be like, I can do it, because he kind of pretty much can.
Yeah, because he could.
Yeah. So that's kind of hard. And I've been there as like I'm practically a tri main at this point. You know, character switching and stuff is always kind of a coin flip, because like you don't know how ready the other person is for Fox or for Chic or for Marth or for Pikachu or whatever it is. So like you're really like coin flipping a lot of the time, or it's based on the other player more than it is based on you. That's what I figured out. That's how I've kind of understood when to switch characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the base of all this talk about like character switching, just comes down to the fact that all of us are pretty confident in how Tyler approaches like the matchups, and I think that you know it like Summit's always a tough thing to go into for any player who's trying to make a name for themselves, because it's like, okay, instead of having an open bracket where you could face increasingly good players and you could get pretty decent wins, it's like it's all or nothing, right? We've seen incredible players get 13th and not win a set, but it's also like a really good opportunity for people to, even if they take one set, that's like, man, that's impressive. So we'll see if Tyler's able to do that. I think that, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if what it looks like. But yeah, if Kadoran's in bracket versus Tyler,
true.
I might be sweating.
I'm not I'm sorry, Kadoran. I'm not betting on you against Tyler Swift.
And
that is horrifying.
There's potential here for this to be a very anti-Marth summit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how is the DK Pikachu matchup, Ringler? What's that? What do you got? Any thoughts on that in general? Who's it favorite?
I think
or is
DK
it just like
slightly wins, but it's hard.
Okay.
Because you just kill Pika off of a confirmed kill setup at 60 every stage.
That's nice.
Just up throw punch, and it like Pikachu always dies.
Yeah, and I think that's what you were also talking about, where like DK covers matchups better because he can like, you know, cargo throw up air like Peach, where like sometimes Pikachu just has to like nair at 170 and be like, please, God, kill.
Wait, Hosline, what's the Chic Pikachu matchup like?
I love that matchup. That's like one of my favorite matchups. I'm good versus like the weird characters. Dreffin once taught me how to like edge guard Pikachu with the needles, and he doesn't do it. So he taught me how to do it, and he doesn't know how to do it. But where you like throw the needles as they're coming back in on the second one, and yeah, I mean, I love that matchup. It's definitely Chic favored. You know, like I said, I've played Axe a couple times now, so I've seen the scary stuff, and Pikachu has punish and everything like that. I think a lot of times like you can get flustered pretty easily. You know, like one of the big things is like holding in on back throw, and then you get like down aired off the side of the stage, like so far away. And it's just like little matchup things that you have to like be confident about, but not like blind confident about, because, you know, there's like a lot of Chics that'll go into a matchup and be like, okay, my character invalidates theirs. And like, I'm sure Ringler, you've seen this, where like Chics are like sort of confident, and then like they start down throwing and they just like don't know how to actually punish DK or like start low tiers, and it's like, oh well, like this guy's gotten 3 grabs and gotten 7% total, so like, you know, what's the point? But yeah, it's like you need a mixture of both. Like to like
you need enough respect and enough BM.
And yeah, I'd be excited to play Amsa a lot too. I've never one time I was at a major for a short story. I was at a major and I saw Amsa playing alone, and I was like, can I play you? And he was like, you can, but only if you play Puff. And I was like, I'm not a Puff main. Like I play, I don't know how to play Puff. And he's like, that's fine. And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't want you to like play my Puff. And then I come back 2 minutes later and he's sitting down with Holiday, the Northeastern Ohio Fox main, who's playing Puff against
Oh
Hamza.
my God.
Just like,
Why is Holiday playing Puff?
He's practicing for HBox. This is like, I was just thinking like, maybe this is just like,
you couldn't find someone more than Holiday's Puff.
It was literally like, it was just Holiday's Puff, which I thought was funny as hell. Like he said yes to that. Cause I was like, I don't want to like waste my own time. And I felt like I was wasting his time. Like clearly he doesn't think so, but like, to be like yes to anyone's secondary, I thought that was hilarious because like maybe that's just like how you have to do if you're like in Japan. You don't like practice against Puff. You like, you know, a person who doesn't know how to play Puff is at least better than a computer that like, you know, just jumps around randomly, right? So like
true.
Maybe that's better. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
That was the big M2K thing, right?
Yeah.
M2K would just walk up to anyone and he's like, do you know how to play this? And they're like, no.
I have
can you play Fox?
Really
funny. Can you play Ice Climbers? I don't know how to wobble. That's okay. It's
at Summit 2, the first one I went to, like when I like one of my first tournaments that I ever attended, I was just like nervous, and I asked Mewtwo King to play, and he was like, "Can you play Puff?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, you're Mewtwo King."
Oh no!
And so like he would pick FD, go Fox, and then just rest over there, like miss a rest.
Oh yeah.
And he would just laser me, get me to like 30% and down tilt, and that was it. And then he would go like, do it again.
Yeah.
And I did that for like 30 minutes because I didn't know how to be like. I was thinking we would play like an actual friendly.
Yeah, that's that happened to me at Genesis. I was sitting next to Plup and M2K, and M2K Plup didn't want to warm him up for Chic Dittos because he's like, that's not fun. So Mewtwo King asked me for Chic Dittos, and he didn't know who I was or anything. And Mewtwo King has this like simple philosophy of hitting someone with a move later is always better, like later in their hit stun. But he would down throw me and then sometimes try like jabbing me, and I would tech down the jab or F tilt like while I was still in the air, and he would pause every time and just go like, dude, like you need to explain to me what's happening there. I see like Plup's like laughing at him because he knows what's up. I'm just like holding down and spamming tech. And he just like pauses and is like, no, like this is not a game anymore. I need to know what's happening. But I mean, like that's, you know, that works, I guess.
It definitely worked for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know about the future of it, but definitely worked for a while. But let's get back to Summit because obviously, you know, I don't. Even though we've already seen Magi at Summit and everything, I don't feel like it'd be kind of rude if we went out without talking about her. Yeah. So this is Magi's second Summit. She's coming in probably the best that she's been. You know, she's kind of been like after her big rise and that Mango win, she was able to be really consistent in that tier. Which is kind of tough, but I think she's like still been consistently good. I think she's still really good. Probably not as much to say about her as there is for Sora and Tyler Swift, just because we know a lot more about Magi. But I don't know. Is there anything that you guys specifically have to say about Magi?
Yeah, I want to say that I honestly cannot believe that KGH like beats her up as bad as
if you've ever played against KGH, right? It makes sense. That guy it's insane. It's messed up.
He is so good against Falco. That was the first thing I thought when looking at Magi's resume, because like you would think that like, oh, if this person struggles against this one other player in this matchup, you know, maybe this person it would make intuitive sense for someone to come away thinking that that's not one of their matchups. But the thing with Magi is that her record against Fox is stellar. I took a look at how she was doing in the matchup over the last like year, right? Since Smash Summit 10 online. And it's really it's quite remarkable. So she's won her last 2 sets over SFAT. She's won her last 2 sets over Null. She destroyed Plup's Fox. You know, I don't know what that means, but I would still say it's still...
That's impressive to me.
Yeah, it's still Plup, right? She's won her only sets against Lucky, Aklo, Hax, SFAT, Mop Money, and Chem. She split sets with the only times she's lost this matchup in the last year are a drop set to Zealot earlier in their only matchup earlier in the year, and she split sets with Zamu. That's it. So like overall, this is like it's like what, like 14 sets or whatever, and she's only lost 2 to Fox while beating SFAT, Lucky, Aklo, like all these players. That's so impressive, and I think that's the kind of skill that, especially in a crowded field of Summit, with so many like foxes, that can carry you like pretty far. And I would actually go as far as to say that even if she's not favored in the matchup, I think she's really scary for like, especially if she's playing hot, like she's really scary for someone like IBDW. Like you can't sleep on Magi in that matchup. Yeah. She's so good at it.
And she's been playing it a lot. I was going to say the one thing is I really appreciated her dedication to the grind for Summit. I mean, doing the subathon from start to, she's probably still live right now. So like, you know, that's something, you know, I would have quit so early if I was just having to play against KJH all that time. I would have just been like, look, like, I don't want you around anymore. I don't want you on this stream. I would have been upset. But
they took a Yu-Gi-Oh break in the middle of their first to 100.
Oh, first to 100, yeah. That's a good format, by the way. I did one with Carol a while back because he used to do those and stream them. They're fun.
Well, he did 99 stocks.
Well, he did I thought he did the stocks.
Oh, they were doing 100 games.
Yeah, they're doing 100 games.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
That's way
awful.
Different.
Oh, that's
it was
so
insane.
Oh.
And KGH was very consistently winning 2-1 on like at any point you could check in, and it was like 60-30 or whatever. And I think it ended up like 100-50 something. I mean, come on. I know we're talking about Magi here, but that's still pretty insane. What KJH has been doing, like, what, a month, 2 months after coming out of retirement?
Yeah, he's already back to beating up Ginger. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
He just came back and
it's ugly.
That guy's a brain genius, dude. He's a brain genius.
Yeah, he's just really consistent. There was one time, like way back, I went to his house after a tournament, and it was like a really long tournament day, and you know everything. And then the second he went back home, he was just labbing how to shark Falco's down air with Fox up air and like beat it. And this is like literally like 2016, and this is like just after a tournament. It's like, all right, let's like I'm gonna do this for like 30 minutes and just beat this Falco down air and get different fast falls with Fox up air. And I was just like, okay, well. Yeah, that makes sense.
God, how we start talking? I'm so sorry, guys. I was supposed to be gassing up Magi, but this all just proves how nasty KJH is.
And the fact that Magi was able to take 50 games off of it.
Yeah.
Good tie back in.
No, I mean, I think we all know how good Magi is, right? Magi has been someone who's definitely been on the grind, definitely been on the tournament grind as well, and she does well. You know, she's able to prove it. So I think that getting to see her in Summit again, you know, it's not a question mark like Sora or Tyler Swift, but it's going to be super sick.
Wait, I want to ask you something really fast.
Yeah.
Give me odds on Magi Leffen.
I don't know
7-3.
if I could ever act like Magi or Leffen would ever lose that. Unfortunately, like Magi could have a decent shot, but my Leffen fanboy self, my unexplainable Leffen fanboy that I am, I can't possibly imagine a world where Leffen doesn't win that.
It depends on how Leffen comes in, but I'd be willing to go down to 6-4 in Leffen's favor, depending on how his mentality is looking.
That's crazy.
Okay, I think 6-4 is.
And I'm a huge Leffen fan.
I honestly think even 7-3 is like really overstated. Like I think it's possible, but 7-3 and 6-4 is like you have to think, right? Like if they play 10 sets, I don't think Magi wins 4 sets.
Oh.
Right.
I was thinking odds of if they meet in bracket. Yeah. No, I guess your math works out there. You are right.
I don't know. I'd probably like realistically at Summit 12, and probably only at Summit 12, and maybe go 4-1 or something.
Well, this should be the opportunity for it, right?
This would be the time. Leffen. I mean, hey, we saw Leffen. He went down 0-2 versus Kinzo. So like we've definitely seen Leffen be a little rusty. You know, that's how many results do you think would pop up if you search like rust in any form on Leffen's Twitter? As much as I love the guy, it's like every single thing. It's like he's either rusty from not playing, or then in the tournament he de-rusts, and then he gets rusty again. It's just a vicious cycle. But yeah, I mean, we are at that part of the vicious cycle where he's like, hey, this is the real Rusty Leffen. Like we've seen Rusty Leffens before, and they usually get like third at a major or something.
Yeah, right.
But the idea of like, is this the rustiest we've seen him? He seems to kind of be not out of Melee, but he seems to be kind of removed from it further than he ever has. But we'll be doing a whole Summit episode, like questions to be had about that we'll do next week. We're talking the last 2 slots. We have 2 people here. We have 2 people who will make it. But that doesn't mean that you guys get to be friendly to each other. There's no perfect. You can imagine that there's a perfect little world where you both make it, but I don't know.
It might be a little rough.
It'll
be tough. It'll be tough.
So we're gonna ask you guys some questions. We're gonna see who truly deserves all these votes that are out there. What's the
supposed 120,000?
Let's see who deserves these 120,000 votes. We got some
that.
questions for you. If you guys want to play friendly, that's up to you. But I feel like there's no friends when it comes to summit voting. So we'll see how you guys answer. Edwin, I believe you have our first question for our guests.
Yeah, I do. The first thing I want to get out of the way is, I did see your grudge match, the undercard match at and I have to say that already puts Free Palestine up 1-0 right now in the scorecard. So you got some ground to make up, Ringler. But maybe you could make it up.
Did you see the run back? The 1 game run back.
I did see the one game run back.
Ping was finally under 100.
Turned off the switch.
All right.
Yeah.
Ringler and Free Palestine, but I want Ringler to go first, since he has ground to make up. Who would be most afraid to face you at Summit?
I'd say probably Zane. I feel like he'd just be like,
oh boy.
Relatively from where Zane is at to where I'm at, I think Zane would just be like, ugh, this is scary.
Can I answer for Ringler? It's everyone. No one wants to lose to DK.
Sure.
like no one wants to lose to. Everyone's
2 points
afraid.
for me. 2 points for me.
Just being honest. No one.
Well, no.
Who's it for you, Free Palestine?
Who would be most afraid of me in bracket? Damn, I have to say someone, huh? I'm gonna say Magi. I'd say my likelihood is pretty high against Magi, based on a large number of friendlies we've played. Friendlies, so it doesn't really count. But I do well after knowing how people play and like what options they go for. So I think if I'm ready for it, I think I have a good shot at that. And I think I've shown. I haven't played a bunch of people here. Maybe Tyler would, because I'm the only Chic if I did go. Actually, I'm editing I'll say Tyler, because if I make Axe switch, maybe he'll switch and beat me with Fox, and maybe that's not the best thing to say. But I'll amend
but he'll be scared.
I'll amend it to Tyler. Yeah. I'll say Tyler.
Very good. Okay, so next question. We will do how will you greet HBox if you get into Summit?
If I'm wearing a hat, I will cover it. Because after I won 7-Eleven, I had my very nice, expensive cowboy hat. And I walked over, and he
man.
And with cowboy hats, you don't pick them up like that. Just some etiquette. Also, don't grab a hat off someone's head. So I'm just gonna I'll walk up to him and be like, "Hey man, what's up, dude?" Don't, not this one.
What about Anise? You got an answer?
Yeah, I'd dap him up. Say what's up.
Oh wow.
Okay. Know him like that.
And maybe
he seems he might be watching. He seems like one of those guys who is too powerful for his own good. I'd be afraid to tap him up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you get the power. You need to absorb it.
True. I feel like I'd end up on the ground somehow.
Take it as a threat, flip you over.
All right, Free Palestine. I want to ask you another question.
Okay.
You get to decide Summit catering for one day. What's for lunch and what's for dinner?
Lunch, I'm cooking for everyone. That's if I get to, I'm cooking a big spread. We're getting everyone involved. They have to help either cooking or cleaning. We're going to put the melee on pause. We're going to do a cooking stream. So we're going to cook some lunch. It's going to be half Arabic because that's stuff I know how to make. Everyone else decides, you get some people, they decide a dish. We work on it together. We do a lunch, a big cooking stream. Dinner. Because I feel like most of the Summit food is all just fast food, right? I've never been, so I don't know. But that's why I always hear about Chick-fil-A or whatever. But coming from Columbus, Ohio, I'm gonna have to say it's got to be just like a lot of Cane's chicken fingers, and that's what the stuff of champions is.
Coleslaw?
That's all I'm gonna say. It's there, but only as a bait to roast people who take it, and so it's there as oh. So that's my answer.
Very fair. Ringler?
Yeah. I think so. I would play the strategic part. I'm going with, for lunch, 7-Eleven hot dogs. I opt out. Bring my own food. Whatever gets them all to get food poisoning. And then for dinner, probably... they'll all feel like shit. So I'll get something really nice. Like I'll get like nice steaks or something.
Ooh, make them upset.
Yeah. They'll all be feeling terrible. And so I get to eat all the good food.
I don't know why.
Wow.
The way that you were saying it, you were like, I'll get everyone 7-Eleven hot dogs. I'll bring my own. I thought you were going to say, I'll bring my own hot dogs. It's like, you're still eating hot dogs.
Mine are Hebrew National. Way better.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not food poisoning based.
Hey, look,
hot dog day.
I had a 7-Eleven hot dog within the past 2 weeks. So,
okay.
Last time I got
it wasn't
one.
Good.
No, it's not good.
Wasn't good.
Do you get the chili with it?
No.
If you're getting a 7-Eleven hot dog, you gotta go the whole way.
I didn't have a choice. It was the chili machine was out.
Oh,
Out of order.
Yeah.
But enough about my fun at 7-Eleven. We got another question coming for you. The cheat is rushing towards the basket for a layup, and you're right there. You're in the paint. How do you stop him?
You don't. That is the cheat. He is a force to be reckoned, and you do not want to be posterized. So anyone who answers otherwise hasn't seen him in his old basketball playing days, nor has seen him since then. So the option is to get away, maybe commit some sort of foul. Maybe if you're brave and you've got a helmet on, you take the charge. But other than that, look, I'm going to be honest. I'm getting out of the way.
There is no stopping him. That man is a wall. I think I would stand more likely trying to move the basketball post out of the way. So that's what I would do. I would rush back and just try to push the hoop back.
Like you're some sort of like
it over.
Like it's Looney Tunes and you just pick it up.
Yeah.
No, that's a pretty good answer. Free Palestine. The fouling him, I don't know about that. He's gonna make the basket. You can foul him as much as you want. That's just an and one.
Oh, true.
Dude's not missing that basket, so
it's gotta be really egregious then. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, Ringler. Ringler, if you could pick one player in the whole world whom you'd like to beat at a major, who would it be?
Going with Free Palestine. This is getting ugly. I'm going for you now.
Wow.
Yeah. I got one thing on my mind after that King of the Cube set.
Look, we'll run a money match if you want. I'll take it.
We'll do it at Summit.
We'll do it on LAN, and so no excuses, no lag switch, nothing, and then we can settle the score on the 1-1 on Marth. We'll take the best of three and see what goes on. But then if I lose, I'm going to Chic because I can't can't afford it after all this. If you're asking me that same question, it's Dreffin, who is the best player in the world.
Oh, that's true.
I saw that that Melee. I think it was you guys did the interviews on who is like the best of all time. Was it PG Stats?
Regardless, PG Stats did it to make content for a Melee Stats.
Yes,
PG Stats list. So,
but Logan was the only one with the correct answer, who was giving their top 10, and on the fourth person said Dreffin, and then said no one else mattered. And I think that's a respectable top 4. And if that's Mount Rushmore, that's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I have.
In your case, I actually believe you fully too.
I am being legit.
I believe you. I've seen those sets.
I'm playing Fox in that matchup now. I'm done with Chic doing
Really?
Dude, when someone ledge dash double spot dodges on you, it's like why am I playing the same game? Like, what are we doing? Like, the guy's like literally using his invincibility to do 2 spot dodges to take a 50-50 to chain grab you to death. It's like, okay, like
He has the most insane brain, I think, of any Smasher.
He plays by instinct alone. That's it.
Yeah.
It's literally raw instinct, and I don't know other Smash players.
You could hook his brain up directly to the game. It'd be the exact same.
Now, I want to ask you: does it make a difference whether you beat his Zelda at a major or Chic, or are you counting?
So
both?
there is no difference, because if you asked him, he's always playing Zelda, and so this is not something that is a question. And out of respect for him, that is my answer. Is if I beat his Chic, then I've beaten his Zelda. They're the same character. Zelda's on the character select screen, and how he would say is, I always play Zelda. He would say.
God, I've gone from never meeting Dreffin until like the last week of October to meeting him at Smash World Tour, meeting him at main stage. I guess I already seen him at main stage. Hopefully, getting to see him at Smash World Tour finals. It's I don't know how I lived my life pre-Dreffin.
It's a treat. It's great.
It's just like just the life that I've begun living, except for that 7-Eleven hot dog, has just been so much better. He is aware that everything he says is gold, right?
Yeah.
He must be. He must be aware that he is unable to speak in anything but like the most beautiful
Ohio. He's from Ohio. Very much.
Yeah. Is that how everyone from Ohio speaks?
No, but Dreffin embodies everything that could be from Ohio. So it goes like the other way around.
The
Dreffin,
primordial,
former
Ohio
Summit attendee.
Oh yeah, true. Yo, his run to make it in was hype. I remember watching those games.
Dude, his comeback on Shroomed, the set against KJH was also wild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
No reason for him to go that hard, and yet he just did.
A top 40 player of all time, one might say.
Oh, true.
An unambiguous top 40 player of all time.
No
maybe
question.
one of our guests right here will make their way in the top 40 someday. But until then, we have one final question for you guys. So this is the end of the segment. We're gonna end it with this one, and I have lost track. Is it Free Palestine who goes first, Edwin?
We've been
Yeah, I forget where we're at. Okay,
sure.
Free Palestine.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Tell us why you'd be a great attendee for Smash Summit 12.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at all about this, but my tag is Free Palestine. I think it would be really cool. Summit is like a very unique tournament to be involved in with that sort of tag. We talk about Nintendo and all that, but our scene being as grassroots as it is, this is like the only like political thing you can sort of do and get away with on this scale is what we're doing here in Melee specifically. You're in any other esport, you're not allowed to. It's not seen as something that's legitimate. Plus, I'm not bad at the game. I know what I'm doing. I play Chic. You want to see Chic? I do soft back airs. That shit's cool. I also play Fox and Marth. So, as a player, I think I have what it takes. And I really want to spread what I can, just educating people, because I've gotten a lot of good reception from the Melee community, and I've really appreciated that. And it's really meaningful to me, and I really mean that. So giving the opportunity to show that this is something that the Melee players would, if I do make it in, then, that alone is huge to me, to show that they want me there. And so, I guess that's my answer is, just want to be there to be who I am.
All right, Ringler, you get the last word. Tell us why you would be an incredible Summit attendee.
I do play Donkey Kong, and I think that says a lot. And like, I think my improvement over the past, I'd say like prior to COVID happening, I was on a really like good rate of improvement, and then even coming out of that, just the amount of hours that I've been putting into the game, I think I'm averaging like 5 hours a day of just unranked too. My soul is dead. I just play unranked. Crazy. Yeah. But I think I've put in the work. I think I have what it takes to really put the fear in a lot of players there. I just 1-0. I just start off the game 1-0 to death, and I think the spaces are getting a little shook. And I also just think, really, the thing I come back to is I already won a summit. I don't understand what's going on that I'm not invited in.
Right.
I don't know if they like lost the VOD and don't remember, but like, I am the Summit 11 champ. I don't understand. Like, Mango won the side bracket.
How did we forget to mention that?
Everyone forgets.
Yeah, I think both of you, you know, we had our little fun kind of, we were poking fun at everything, trying to have a little bit of a competitive questionnaire, and I think you guys did great. But I mean, the truth is, both of you guys would be great, and both of you have the chance to make it in. And I think that a summit with either of you or both of you, I think would be really great. And hey, you know, even the unfortunate case that a summit does not have either of you, you know, we talked about how Null and Slug, they can hold their own. They're still they're good. They're cool. So whatever we see, I think is going to be really cool. But you know, if we can kind of pivot to away from like a little bit of a jokey kind of questionnaire, I do have some questions for each of you that you guys can kind of expand on. You know, this is like your chance to kind of sum up what Summit would mean, or you know, kind of just like speak at length to people who might be watching who might not know everything. But I think both of you had like really, really great answers, and I want to build on both of those. You know, for Anise, your answer about you know, kind of elaborating on your tag, I think it's kind of funny that for Melee people, I've kind of been around your tag so much that it doesn't feel like a statement when I say it anymore, because I'm just like oh yeah, no, the Chic,
yeah, I agree.
Right? Yeah.
But like that doesn't mean it's lost meaning. It's like pretty amazing that you've been able to get to that point. So you know, we can talk about that, but before we get to that, I don't want to overshadow Ringler. But your point about being a DK, yeah, that's, dude, I want to talk more about that, because I remember, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit before the show. Royal Flush, the only Royal Flush in 2017. It was the first time that I met you. It was my first major. You walked up to me and you thought that I was some other guy. We hung out a little bit that major. It was kind of fun. We just kind of, me, you, and Edwin kind of like wandered around whatever casino it was. But at that tournament, I think it was like you beat Ding, formerly Dingus Master, Melee Stats, you know, affiliated. Edwin, I think you lost to Fish It. I think Green Ranger was also there. Like,
I didn't lose to Fish It. I lost to New Jersey's Finest.
Tournament.
You lost to New Jersey's Finest. Okay, maybe Green Ranger wasn't there. But yeah, just this like very funny kind of level of DK that we've seen before. But I mean, if we're talking about actual results, what you've been able to do since then, offline and online, especially offline, has been really, really impressive. So I guess like we can expound on this a little more. Do you want to talk about what it's like to be the only person who's kind of making these waves to this extent at the moment with your character?
Sure. I mean, it kind of comes down. I don't think I'm doing it alone too. Like, I think I'm leading the pack, but there's a lot of like really like talented, like fresh people coming in. Like there's a Dada, they're a box DK, and they're just like finding new stuff every day. And they're also really good they're actually doing the DK cookbook.
Wow.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Like, yeah. So like, it's not just like me. I know I'm good. I know how to learn video games. Fun fact about Royal Flush: I took a game off of Crush there. But so like, you know, but I've never thought that it's just me alone. Like we're constantly like bouncing ideas off of each other. There is a DK Discord. That's a good time, but it really comes down to I like doing it so much because while I have all these resources, there's no like true DK guide. Mm-hmm. So it's like I can watch a combo video or talk to a top player or whatever, but I like that I feel like the onus is on me to figure out new stuff, find the new mix up, find the new punish. And just lately, I feel like I've been getting much better at doing that. Like I feel like I'm constantly learning new stuff. Yeah, and it's just such a fun experience to be like my favorite feeling is doing something and being like, I've never seen that before. And you don't really get to do that with too many characters in Melee. So yeah, it's fun, but it's hard, you know. It's definitely not the easiest. They aren't the easiest brackets in the world, but getting through them is definitely super rewarding. And that's just kind of what keeps me going is the passion, the grind.
What made you decide DK?
Laziness. I played DK in PM, and then the cease and desist happened, and I was like, I know how to play DK and only DK. I don't want to learn Marth. So I was just like, all right, you know, fuck it. Let's see how far I can take this. And I'm pretty happy with how far I've taken it. And there's still more to go.
Do you think you ever find yourself at a point, you know, we talked about Axe, we talked about Tyler Swift. Do you think you ever find yourself at a point where you might consider a secondary, or was there ever a point where you were, you know, wondering if you made the wrong decision? Or was it all just DK with no looking back?
I know the world will be a fundamentally different place if I did pick up Marth. If I got that dopamine release from Marth, it'd be over. But no, I mean, like, in serious, I think every, different stages of the grind, there's different points where you realize, oh, I'm playing a bad character. Like, there's the early one where you're like, oh man, like, Falco Laser is really hard to deal with. Maybe I should play Marth because he has an easier time dealing with that. And then it goes, like, there's the next level, which is like, like, I go even with this person in friendlies or whatever, or in tournament, and they get much farther than me in bracket. And it's like, I feel like I can beat similar players, but, you know, consistency is always going to be a negative factor for low tiers for the most part. Like, very few people have ever broken through that barrier. Like, Axe is, I think, probably the player with the lowest tier character that's actually been able to maintain consistency at that level. There's really not many. I've lost track of the question.
No, I mean,
well,
I
think
seems like your passion, it shows. Yeah, Edwin, right? Agree?
Yeah, I think just kind of give a little more meat to the question. Like, what do you think would be what are the matchups that you're trying to figure out new solutions in, or work around right now that are problem matchups?
Right now, Falcon's a big one, because, and it's so funny because you would think, well, Falcon is worse than Fox and Falco, and he's a fast faller. That should be a better matchup for DK. But just the way those kids interact, like Falcon's Nair is such an oppressive tool if you do anything on DK. Like FP knows. FP knows.
I used to play DK, and I still sometimes do.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that at some point. Yeah. I know you mained him for a bit.
It's Falcon. I feel like I've really come into the Falco matchup lately, which is nice because that's one of the main barriers of entry for DK. A lot of DKs find success pretty early on against like Marth, just because it's like DK's fundamental matchup. It's like where his skill set shines most. And Falco kind of is the consistent barrier. And I feel like now I'm better against Falco than I am against Fox, at least. But yeah, Falcon's a tough one. Puff's a tough one, but I'm working on that. Trying to readjust like the way I think about neutral. It's Falcon and Puff are the ones that I feel the least secure about. But you know, figuring new stuff out, it's fun. It's rewarding.
Yeah, getting to watch you is really fun because you kind of it's like you feel like you've seen it all and then pull out something else. And it definitely feels like something that Melee, you know, I feel like what we've seen from the few characters that we do see all the time. Seems to be kind of pushed to a limit where we kind of understand it. But it's like something you get from other traditional fighting games where you'll have like random characters pop up and do really well. And it really shows how the person behind the character really has such a great grasp of it. I've watched sets of yours, and I'm like having trouble remembering any specific situations, but there's some amazing situations where is there something that you do versus like spacey side B versus spacey up B, where it's like you do some sort of up B that covers maybe not both, but like what is it? Because I've seen it before, and it's like blown my mind every time I see it, but I cannot remember what it is.
So DK up B is a top 5 move in the game attached to a bad character. That move is so insanely broken. It's invincible frame 2 in the air until 5, with an active hitbox during out all of that. And so, especially against Falco, you just get proximity to them with up B, and it's over. They like, unless they do, you can cover every angle with various parts of your kit. But yeah, no, and it's one of those things where it's like, this is DK Shine Spike. Like, this is exactly as lame as any Shine Spike, except it takes 30 seconds. And I just get to like, it's so fun just being like, you're here with me now. You are here. Off stage, you are not a good character anymore. But yeah. And that's one of those things, you would not believe some of the mix-ups. Like, there are so many layers of mix-ups that I've like found out just against Spacey. Like, you know, you can grab Spacey going to ledge if they don't sweet spot it. You can grab them from standing on stage, and they just teleport into your arms. But yeah, no, I love the bullshit that DK gets from up B. It is, it's great.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see the end of it anytime soon. That's the fun part too.
Yeah,
doesn't seem to have an end in sight. But yeah, I mean, Edwin, I don't know if there's anything that you want to talk to Ringler about specifically, because obviously, you know, Free Palestine, I want to talk to him about the work that he's done through Melee with activism and you know, just his general kind of philosophy about that. But if I don't want to mix DK talk with Free Palestine talk, so if you have a question, now would be the time.
Yeah, I guess my only other question would be, you know, I've seen you get a lot of really good results at Verdugo. I know you had a really strong main stage as well. As far as like current goals go within that are local oriented and within SoCal, just tell me like as far as whoever you're like, is there anyone in SoCal you really want to beat, or any specific ranking that you want to make on the PR or anything like that?
For whatever reason, I don't like those kinds of goals for myself. I've tried working with them, like setting a framework of like, here's what I want to do at this point. Here's who I want to beat. Here's who I think I could beat now. How do I need to practice it? I find it doesn't work for me. I find that I get unmotivated if I don't like goals for whatever reason. Structured goals really unmotivate me, because I'm like, well, no, I don't want to play to beat one person. I don't want to play to get 7th or whatever, you know, at a local. I want to like, I think I can get really good at this game with a bad character. And, you know, the goal has always been best player in the world since day one, just best player in the world. And that's not a like realistic goal. But that is the only goal that I've found that motivates me to want to play. Where it's like, oh no, I just want to get better. That's the only goal I've ever had, and probably the only goal I ever will have. And yeah, Summit's just one of those opportunities where it's like, that's why I go to Summit. That's why from day one, that's why I bought the Summit Pass, is like, I want to play the best players in the world. Even if I can only play them for a short amount of time, because I'm playing fucking DK. Like, I want that practice and I want that experience. And I found that it works.
Have you gotten a chance to play anyone like Mango or IBW or Zane and Friendlies?
Yeah. There was, I mean, most of the time, like, oh, this is really funny. I don't know why. Wizzy has started just walking up to me and asking me to play. And I'm like, what is going on? What are you gaining from this experience?
Well, tell us what it's like playing him. Like, how are the games and everything?
It's way more fun than I would have thought watching him play. I actually really enjoy playing against Wizzy. It's because he doesn't have that much exposure to all of my gimmicks and all of my tricks. And the way he plays with, a respectful play style of, avoiding my space and then getting me on my inactive frames or whatever, it just gives me more time to like think, okay, how do I want to apply this new thing that I'm working on? Like, this guy's really good. He's not going to fall for my dumb tricks of, doing a bad bear on his shield, up B immediately to beat out a shield grab. That might work once. So it's, I'm just really appreciative. He's also a nice guy. He's a great guy. And it's just it's like a little point of pride where I'm like, oh, he has me to play. He has me to play. Maybe I'm completely unfounded in that pride, but I'm like, it feels good.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
He's dude, it's like 10D chess. He's waiting for HBox to counterpick DK. He's like, if HBox counterpicks DK, I'm ready. He saw the nest years ago. He knows that anything could happen. Wizzy, amazing player at main stage. He came over to the TO desk to ask for something, and YCZ was hanging around, and YCZ was like, "Hey, your mask is on upside down," and Wizzy was just like, "Can I keep it this way?" As if like, YCZ is the one who's like, "Yeah, you're allowed to. Yeah, I'm the one who controls how people wear their masks around here, and I'm gonna let you do it." But
funny.
yeah, not to derail too much. Yeah, I do think that I do think what you've been able to do with characters is pretty crazy. Because like have you seen a difference in how people have, like, are people taking you more seriously now that your resume kind of stands up a little more, or is it still kind of side-eyeing the DK choice? Like, how do people treat your general characters?
I think where they're used to just be like, why are you playing DK? Like, come on, dude, don't play DK. Now it's more like they're annoyed that I'm good now. It's morphed into like, it's not even like I don't want to lose to Ringler. It's like, it is annoying that Ringler is good enough to beat me with a bad character. And I think that feeds into like, now people feel the fear. Now it's like they start tilted. But yeah, it's definitely like a case of like the shift has not been of like one of respect of like, oh, you actually got good, and more to a like, please pick up a legitimate character so I feel less bad about losing.
All right, I think so. I know we talked to you for a bit about your like melee goals, sort of how you feel about the game and how you feel about DK. I just want to quickly pivot back to Free Palestine for a sec. We talked earlier in the year, and I actually interviewed you about like sort of where you were at with the net play for Palestine event, and how that was going for you and your involvement in that. I actually want to ask you also something gameplay related. When we talked about this briefly earlier in the year, you mentioned that playing online was not really like you played doubles a lot with online and found fun in that, but you just didn't feel the same rush of competing in singles brackets for a rollback, and you were waiting for LAN to return. So since we spoke back then, a ton of LAN events have returned. We haven't seen like a Genesis caliber event, but we've seen main stage. We've seen Riptide. You went to Riptide as well. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, where are you at with competing now? How do you feel about singles?
I mean, I want to take it really seriously. I mean, honestly, I'm still a little bit concerned with Corona, just because after, 7 to 8 months after tournaments require certain things, efficacy wears off and stuff, and you don't know where people have been and all that. And I still live with my folks, so I'm still, a little bit worried in that regard. I want to be back and competing as soon as possible. I might go, depending on how I feel, 3 p.m. tomorrow. There's a tournament in Michigan called Super Meet, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I might go to that and stay the night there, which would be a lot of fun. I want to be back in it as soon as possible. And I mean, I've been playing the people here locally too whenever I get the chance. So I mean, competing wise, I'm signed up for Genesis. Hopefully, I can go to Summit. Signed up for Smash Camp. So in terms of competing, I want to be there as soon as as soon as possible, pretty much. And maybe right this second, I don't think I guess I'm not certain that going to a local every week is the best idea right now for certain reasons. But I would love to. And, I love my local community too. So I've been just trying to space it out a little bit in terms of the events I go to and kind of what situations are there. And, I know that that's the reason why a lot of other players aren't, attending certain things, so I think that's, I hope, pretty fair. But my motivation has never been higher to be good and to think about Melee and to be practicing. And since that time, I've really enjoyed trying to come to a deeper understanding of situations, not just what can I do in this situation, but like what is this situation like almost like a chess situation. What is the other player even thinking? What are their options? And kind of coming to a more synthesized view of Melee. And one of the things I'm actually excited for is to speak about Melee, given the opportunity at Summit. I know there's a lot of times where players are commentators, so that's something I've really, not specifically commentary, like going to a major and doing commentary instead of playing or something, because I am a competitor first. But I've really enjoyed understanding the game and talking about the game, kind of talking with other people about it too. I think that there's a certain beauty in Melee about just any situation you can talk for 30 minutes about. And I think that's why we keep coming back to the game, right? The amount of depth we have, where, just now Foxes are saying maybe Shine back air isn't good. Maybe you do the Shine and then you jump and do a Nair, and, you can go on Twitter and see a bunch of people like that. So I've really enjoyed how fresh Melee has been recently, despite all that, or through all that.
All right, I actually have a question for both of you now. I think this is actually something I've thought about a lot over the last like 2.5 weeks, and I want to hear both of your opinions on, not just as Summit nominees, but people who have had people who have had a history of notable results. So I want to ask you too, with LAN kind of coming back, majors getting returning to the swing of things as they were before the pandemic. Do you feel like do you feel more motivated, or like is your motivation for taking the game seriously and like competing at events, is any of it pushed or propagated, or like is any of it relevant to the existing of like any rankings that may or may not be coming up in the future or anything like that? Like, does it feel weird knowing that whatever results you have this year are just kind of exist in the aether, that there's no like cemented MPGR for 2021? Do you think that from a competitor standpoint for you two, is that something that you like has been in your mind at all about, or not really?
I actually liked Ringler's answer earlier, and I was kind of the same notion, where I don't like setting a certain goal, to be top 50 or something, because not only are you limiting yourself, but sometimes it feels like if you set those goals, it's kind of you set yourself up to fail by, it could be not even your own progress. The top 50 players could just be so good, and it's not fault of your own. Maybe you're 51th or something, but 51st. And thankfully,
I think you're right the first time.
And thankfully, after getting 101, which was very funny, and then being placed, I've tried to, as much as possible, not tie any self-worth of myself into any rankings or anything like that. We know they're subjective. We know they're based on recency and a lot of other things. I'm sure you guys know a lot about that. So I'm not particularly motivated by rankings, whether they're there or not anymore. Just especially after going to a ton of events, I want to go to the events that I think are run well, that'll be good competition, safe and have a great time. And so whether the ranking is, for this event or that event, I don't think any more will change how I think about the game or how I view it. And I think personally, that's a really healthy thing for me. I know other people, it motivates them to say, I've done this or I'm this number or whatever it is. But nowadays, just focusing on what I can focus about and not worrying where I land within a sea of other people in some way. And that's been better for me and, my mental health in general. So that's, I guess, where I'm at.
And Ringler, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, similarly. What I've been like kind of thinking about, just because like I've been doing well at locals and I've had some good showings at majors. One of the things that I've kind of realized is like tying myself, like my any self-worth to a ranking is also like tangentially like tying my self-worth to like the downfall of others. Like, so if I'm like, if I want to get 10th on the SoCal PR or whatever, like, but I don't want anyone to like, do worse or whatever. I want to earn 10th and just be 10th. But I think like things get kind of muddled in that mentality of like, it's hard to like, I mean, and like it's a failure on my part. It's hard to like be like really root for the boy every time when you're also gunning for the same spot that your friend is gunning for. It just gets muddled. So like that's why I think like rankings are nice. I won't say like I would say I'm disappointed that there's no global top 100 just because I like that. It's a fun experience from a spectator and a competitor to like drive for that. But in terms of like mental stability and just mental health, I think all I ever want to do entering an event is go in feeling like I'm only here to play the best I can. I'm not here because I want to grind like a win out and that'll boost me on some spreadsheet somewhere. I want to play my best and I want to feel like I'm able to play my best, and that's what's important to me now.
Yeah. I've been able to get to speak to a few players about stuff like this, and I mean, I think everyone has their own way of looking at it, and I think that if people set their goal as like just get to top 100, I think that's fine. It's not on me to like say what's a good goal and what's a bad goal. But the people who I spoke to who seem to have the best relationship with Melee, it does tend to be a personal thing, right? It's about playing your best, and it's about just playing better than you did the last tournament that you entered. It's trying to achieve some sort of potential, and it doesn't really have to be tied to a number or to a specific win. And I think that's the stuff that we see from people who are able to play the game for years. I think that's a really healthy, interesting mindset that I think is pretty crucial for people to stick around for the game. So that's really cool to hear that from both of you.
I'm actually interested. Do you find that changes the better the players are? Like, I feel like once you're sort of in the range where Ringler and I are, maybe from like 50 to like 500th in the world or whatever it might be, versus like once you get into the top 20, do you think like it becomes like a different ego thing again? Because the way I see it looking into like the top 10, top 15, top 20, I feel like for me, it doesn't make sense that it occupies their thinking or their thought process a lot. But just looking at like videos or when they talk on stream, a lot of people, it seems like it does matter. And I'm not sure if it's just like because once you get like in the top 10, it's like, oh, that's when it actually matters versus like the top 100 or what.
Wait, I don't know what your perspective is or like what your experience with talking to other people like this goes, but I feel like it's a very case by case thing. Like it really depends on the personality and person. It really depends on the person, because like you'll find like different top 25 players who don't give it much thought at all, and then other top 25 players where it's genuinely like a very stress inducing but like important thing in their day that they think about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this interesting thing that we look at. Melee specifically, but Smash in general has a lot of like infrastructure in its scene that I don't think a lot of other scenes necessarily have. And I think it's because I guess we have a Nintendo tournament, but or Nintendo, whatever. But for most of our lifespan, we kind of had to make stuff ourselves, and I think it did mean that we had to be self-sufficient, and doing so led us to have, seeding that tended to go further than other FGC games, or you have stuff like rankings, right? Not having a circuit led to us kind of having to make it on our own, and I think that we have top 100s that, I don't think I've seen other games that put together top 100s for their player base to that same extent. But it does, it does have some effect. Like Edwin said, it's case by case. You can talk to someone like Captain Face or Face Roll, and Face Roll will just kind of have an opinion that, like, as long as he is playing good, it doesn't really matter. It's not, not really important to put a number to it or anything like that. You have people who it's just like, if it's not first, then it doesn't matter, right? If it's not first, then it means they gotta keep going. But yeah, I mean, obviously, saying anyone's name would be conjecture because I don't know anyone's story well enough. I haven't been able to speak to anyone about this, but I think it's not crazy to say that, like Edwin mentioned, there is probably stress involved with this. It's not crazy that we've seen. Yeah. Well, like we've seen players go really far and get like really highly ranked, and then they suddenly stop playing, and it's hard to, without speaking to them about it, it's hard to give like a specific reason. But I feel like the pressure that's put on rankings and the pressure, is this person top 10? Is this person top 15? Right? When you get to that certain level, it's not a personal thing anymore, right? You talk about yourself, you talk about Ringler, that's like a different level. The entire Smash community is not going to say, oh, is Ringler 80th in the world? But the entire Smash community is going to say, well, who's better, Zane or Mango? So when you get to that level, it's a personal thing, but it's also a personal thing that is very public. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. And as we are kind of in like a weird time, because we are going to get the, oh God, what is it called? It's called the PGR, Paths to something or whatever. There's going to be like a non-ranked, a non-numeral ranked PGR list that they announced that's coming out in the near future, which is going to be cool. It's going to be like, hey, these players were good. But for all intents and purposes, we are not, like, we're not having a ranking. And it's kind of getting to the thing where, like, people say that they don't like rankings, and now there's not a ranking, and it's like, well, it's kind of funny to see how people react. But yeah, I think we're in a little interesting time, and it's a cool time to reflect on what rankings mean to our scene. But maybe for another time, maybe we'll do an episode on that, because I think it's a really interesting topic that, as someone who is, involved with the MPGR, has been involved in top 100 for years, I definitely would be first to admit that there is a lot of leeway to it. And I think that anyone who looks at a top 100 and kind of goes like, okay, well, this person is definitively better than this person, I think it's the wrong idea to go about it. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about on that. But I mean, I think we've had a lot to talk about all today. I think we're getting kind of to the end of it. We have a few things that I want to do before we go. So we're not at the end just yet. But one of the things that we like to do on this show, it's a segment that is officially unnamed. Sorry, Edwin, you got something?
Yeah, no, there is one patron question that I want to get to before we get to this segment.
Oh, okay. Do we do patron questions before or after?
We usually do it before.
Okay, I do the show every week, and I forget it. Okay, so we're going to have some patron questions for you.
That's okay. There's just one. So usually we talk about how good or bad the patron questions were for this week. And I'm just going to say that the fact that I picked one should tell you enough. So, well, to be fair, we already asked some of them to be fair, we already asked some of them a bit beforehand, but
yeah,
here's one.
I will say, we like to joke about how bad they are, and then the next week they're usually good, and then we don't joke about how bad they are, and the next week they're usually bad. We had a couple people ask questions, and the reason why we only have one is because we used a lot of them as serious questions to ask you guys. Like it was like a real thing that kind of was consistent with the show that we're making. So yeah. they make bad questions every now and then, but this week maybe wasn't the worst. But yeah, Edwin, you want to go ahead with that question?
Yeah, so SF would like to ask, what achievements are you most proud of for both of you? Presumably within Melee.
For me personally, I would say event-wise, and this is gonna be maybe you guys could correct me. I don't know which Kilroy it was, either 3, 4, 5, or 6. So there's a big range there. But I won a Kilroy being seeded 4th out of my state. Like, it was an out-of-state tournament, and in winners, I went down to Slox and then switched to Marth and beat him. And then in grand finals, I started Marth and then reverse 3-0'd Zamu with Chic. And that was like one of the moments where I was like, first of all, I was seeded 4th, so like I wasn't supposed to win, and I won through winners. But having kind of the confidence and sort of gambling to switch characters and it turn out well against 2 foxes, it sort of helped me understand myself a lot and how I should counterpick. And so it was like an achievement in understanding, why the hell am I playing 2 characters? Well, it worked out this way. Let me think about why that worked. And so that tournament is a big deal to me for not maybe an achievement, but like personal growth through the achievement of having gotten first at that tournament. It was a big deal to me to have figured out, like, sort of through desperation, sitting there when you're down 0-2, it's sort of a hard thing to start making decisions on what you should do in the game. But being in that position and coming out on top, I think, is an achievement that I'm pretty proud of in that regard.
And Ringler?
Yeah, it's I've used it as a joke, but it is a serious answer. But the fact that I got 25th at main stage twice, like, especially with this main stage. So, like, for those who don't know, I had a massive panic attack while playing Azel, I never know. Where I took, and this is a thing that happens to me, where I'll go into a set, I'll feel prepared, and I'll like take the first stock or the first game, and then it's like, well, okay, do it again now, and that's like a big struggle for me. And so I lost the set, and was like, I mean, I couldn't like feel my arms; they were like just pins and needles and empty. And I was just like, and I had the thought to myself, like, obviously I was frustrated. I was like, because it was one of those situations of my mind is working fine, but like I can't communicate anything to my hands. And so after that set, I went and splashed some like cold water on my face, trying to get my heart rate down. And I had the thought of like, well, that's the worst feeling I could have in tournament, and I'm probably not going to have that bad of a feeling again. And so from there, I was just like able to go in with like such a clear head about things and being like, not even internally referencing back to that feeling and being like, well, I'm not there yet. But just like the emotional security of being like, okay, I don't need to freak out like that again. I don't need to feel that way. I can, if I lose, I lose. But I can maintain the mentality I need to, I think, to compete. Just having like the worst case scenario happen, it's like, okay, that just means I lose. I don't die. I just lose. And then I was just and then having that, because the first main stage was such a good performance for me, and such a demonstration of my growth as a player. So to be able to like do that again at an arguably even more, like the first main stage was already stacked. I think the year the first main stage happened, it was the highest proportion of top 100 entrants to total entrants. I don't know the stats on that. You guys would probably be able to find that easier. And this one was arguably like, people are good. Like, people have gotten better over quarantine. And so for me to be able to go into that and like beat for beat get that same placement at arguably a harder tournament, I was like, oh, okay, like the stuff I'm doing is working.
Yeah, equally impressive showings. obviously you had that very that very funny match versus Shroomed.
Yeah.
And you had another set at the original main stage versus Amarth, who shall go unnamed. But I will say, if you catch the VOD of that, I am in the front row, and I'm literally, I go like this at the end of it. And funny story, I picked up the shirt that I wore at that. I forgot. I didn't put two together. I almost wore that shirt today, but I decided to pick a different shirt. But yeah, if you want to see Ringler beat a Marth player who we don't talk about anymore, and if you want to see me in the background, that is out there on YouTube. But yeah, no, that's I really do love that answer. Very, very candid. Very, kind of speaks to both levels of success. Both in game and kind of mental. So I really appreciate that. That's a really, really good answer. As we go from that, maybe the answers that we'll be having to this next segment are a little less deep, but that's kind of part of it. We've had a really great episode. We're talking all about Melee. One thing that I think is really important when you talk about Melee is, people have to know that we are stuff outside of Melee, right? We are people. We are multifaceted human beings. So we have a segment that is officially unnamed, colloquially known as Touching Grass. And we're gonna go around. We're gonna talk about something that has been, something that's been important in our lives, or something that we've been interested in lately, something that we've done recently. That is nothing to do with Melee, because we are people who, like, I think the Melee community really doesn't get a chance to show their non-Melee sides a lot, so this is a good opportunity. So I'll go first. You guys have some time to think. This past week, Monday, I went to a concert. It was for an artist named Caroline Polachek. I got to see her a little bit at the Pitchfork Music Fest in September, and I thought she was really great. So I got tickets to this. This is an album that I've been listening to since it came out in 2019, and she was amazing. I was technically second row, but the woman in front of me was like anywhere from 4'11" to 5'1". So I feel like that's front row, because I'm just there like an opposing person above her. But it was a really cool thing to see. I as safe as I can be, I've been trying to go see a lot of concerts, and really, really great performance. It's one of those things where it's just like, I wanted to go to concerts really bad during the pandemic, and they weren't happening. And then I got to my first concert post-pandemic, and it's just like, oh, is this what I came for? Am I just like waiting in line outside, and then I go wait in the venue inside, and then I wait in between sets after an opener that I don't really care about? But every show I've been to has been great. It's like, the waiting doesn't matter, because I've seen so many incredible artists. Even the openers for every single show I've seen have been so good. So I will say that the show I saw with an artist who I've never heard of called OK Lou, who opened, and the show that with Caroline Polachek, I will say that's the thing that's been going on with me. Edwin, what's been going on in your life recently?
I've been watching so much SpongeBob. I just finished season 1 today. I love it so much. It's so funny. The writing is great. I think even the way obviously the animation is very like early 2000s, but I think the way they use the animation to like tell the story of like different to like convey different ideas and stuff it's really sharp. Like, I just think it's such a great show. I knew something was wrong with me though, because I was describing to my spouse how much I love SpongeBob and like revisiting it, and I was telling them, I was like, this is like The Sopranos, but an animated TV show. It's The Sopranos, and then it hit me that like you can't compare these two things. This is like, what a ridiculous.
That's the Boss Baby tweet. That's the guy who has seen only Boss Baby getting real Boss Baby vibe from this. That's.
Yeah, so I love SpongeBob. The only other thing I would say that's been taking up a decent part of my life, I got back into Dungeons and Dragons, and I've been DMing for my hometown friends and like our social circle and everything. So I've known these guys like my whole life. So we had our first session like last week, and I've been doing this variant of a pretty common like starter module for D&D. So I basically created like this segment to kind of like teach them how to roll die and stuff, like the general gameplay mechanic to kind of get them accustomed to the game. They create their characters and stuff. It was really fun. I was pretty nervous heading into it because like I didn't have any custom maps or anything built out, but I had like a script. I had a game script of what I expected to happen. Like I kind of modeled the world around like learning the core mechanic of the game, and it ended up being really fun. We even got to see a nice my friend's girlfriend unfortunately had her character die because an ogre hit her with a tree branch, and it did like a bunch of damage, so her character died like instantly. So it was great. Like there's even like a graphic, like I got to describe like what the cutscene would have looked like and stuff. It's really fun. It's honestly been like I used to DM Call of Cthulhu like last year during the pandemic, so I wanted to get into D&D just because that's a little more streamlined. But like low key, it's always been my if Melee Stats ever got like really big enough to where like we do stuff outside of Melee, my dream is to do like is to DM a session with like Ambi and Wheat and like a couple other Melee Stats people. I think it'd be really
you can make that
really
happen
fun
without it being a content thing. I'd be happy.
No,
to
it
just
has to be a content thing. That's it. That's it.
No, we have to be as big as Ludwig.
Yeah, we have to be as big as the yard. It's only about the content, nothing else. Yeah, I think. I just think. I think it would be really fun. Anyways, that's what I've been up to.
What Free Palestine, I'm gonna let you go next, but I have a burning question. What's your favorite SpongeBob episode?
In the first season, the one I really enjoyed. I honestly love love Plankton's introduction episode. I think that one is really good. I also really
the one with the like.
Shut up, you mediocre clarinet player. That one.
That's the one where he takes over SpongeBob's brain and SpongeBob. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, one of my favorite sequences from the episode is when it's the running gag where he has the record player and he's playing like this theatrical music in the background. And the second time, they're like one of the times he does it when he like enters SpongeBob's mind or whatever, he puts on the record, but instead of this like evil music in the back, there's like this fake children's song that's like easy as the alphabet ABC, while Plankton's like laughing or whatever before he quickly like replaces it back with the evil music or whatever. It's so good. It's just like such a well done show. I don't know.
We gotta pivot. We're gonna start talking. We're just gonna be talking Bob. That's what it's gonna be called.
Bob.
And we can pivot that to anything related about any Bob. That's the thing. I mean, SpongeBob.
Bob Odenkirk.
SpongeBob has we after SpongeBob we do Bob Odenkirk. SpongeBob has so many episodes that I don't think we have to worry about the future of a podcast. But yeah, after that we'll go through filmography about Bob Odenkirk. SpongeBob. I gotta watch it because I went through it recently. I was gonna go through the whole thing and I got like 4 episodes in and I thought it was amazing, but I just like didn't make time for it. SB, what is it called? SB 129 or whatever. Future one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that would be up there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that would be like top 5.
We'll keep it for talking Bob. Free Palestine. What has been going on with you recently?
One thing that I've sort of picked up while in quarantine, kind of just stuck at home and everything is I got a motorcycle and then I learned I bought it without a license and just kind of like learned to drive on like a small 250cc sports bike. And then I made the decision to go to a 1000cc, like, which if you don't know, they're just like stupidly large. Like it's just like twice as fast as my car. I didn't need it. And so that's been something that's been really exciting for me. I'm back to a 50cc moped, which has like pedals on it. And I just putt down the street with my 2-stroke, making dumb noises at 34 miles per hour because that's the absolute max it's got. It's really cold now in Ohio, so that's kind of, on the back burner. But, I've been working on my car a lot. I have a 35-year-old car. It's like an enthusiast car, so I've been sort of working on that. It's broken right now. It's a piece of garbage. But, yeah, working on my crappy car and my moped nowadays is how I get some thrills, just out in the suburbs. It's, I figured it was at least a little bit of fun and I could learn something and I get a thrill from it. And it's been something that I didn't think I would be into or do, but then I sort of just like did it and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. I at least know how to do that now. So that's something I've been enjoying.
It sounds very fun, and I've seen pictures of the car. It's a beaut.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's regular. What's been going on in your life?
It started. You know what? It never started as a meme. I'm just totally fish pilled now. I fish as often as I can, which is not that often. There's not many good spots for to actually be out in a pretty part of nature and fish in LA. But at Riptide, me, my buddy Austin, and Trey were just we ditched top 8 and just found a gated community and snuck in and bought shitty fishing poles at Walmart. And it's awesome. Because the beauty of it is I don't like hiking. I've never liked hiking, but I will go hiking to go fishing. So it's
you're like a kid going through their vegetables to get to make sure that they've earned dessert or whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it is. And so and it really is all of my friends who haven't fished before or show no interest, where I'm like, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. They all come out of it being like, oh, I get it. You're because it's a completely inactive activity, but it's also involved. You're thinking about, oh, there's a tree branch under the water there. There's probably a bass or a catfish or something. I'm going to try to get that attention. You can switch out your lures. If you're this one isn't working, I'm going to try a different type of lure that might be more movement oriented as opposed to something else. And it's just one of those hobbies that you can kind of mentally dive as deep into it as you want, which is great for me because it means I can sit up till 3 a.m. just watching an old man at the pier being oh, I'm trying this rig out today. And I'm yes, dude. Yes. Yeah. And it's there's the appeal of, this is kind of a practical hobby, I could catch food potentially.
Yeah. Do you eat your catches, or are you a catch and release guy?
I have not caught anything that I would consider eating. Yeah. No, because you don't want to eat bass or anything, and you don't want to eat you can eat catfish, but no, catfish would be good. I just don't know how to cook it. The dream would be go to Montana and catch trout or something, because trout is good fish.
Maybe we'll make them throw a major. We'll make Blur throw a major in Montana right near a big fishing hole.
It's Smash Camp. It's Smash Camp. That's the dream. It's a 1 mile hike to a private lake. Yes, exactly.
Best tournament series, bar none.
Oh, I 100% agree. What I've always said, if someone asks me what's one tournament you can go
Smash
to,
Camp, 100%. Yeah, same.
Summit or Smash Camp.
Oh well, true. Point.
But it's Smash Camp, 100%.
Yeah.
That's why I got one of the VIP spots at Smash Camp, because it was just yep, no, I know I'm going. I don't care when it is. I'll go in the winter.
The winter one was nice.
You went to I think I missed the. Oh wait, no, hold on.
It was funny because we were there and some people from SoCal were like, "I've never seen this much snow." There was this much. And they were like, "This is amazing."
No, I did go to that one. Yeah, I didn't think that was
funny.
That much.
I was like, "You guys."
That's nothing. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be going to my first Smash Camp.
Ooh, see you there.
Coming up. It'll be super fun. Yeah, no, that's.
And then you can answer your question about if Mikey posts up on you, what are you gonna do? And I want to see what happens.
Yeah, I don't
you can do it too.
Yeah, I know better.
Yeah,
fair. I mean, I'm taller than Mikey is. I will just put my arm up, and I think what you're supposed to do as a defender is just don't move. I think you're supposed to just go like this, and then just plant your feet. Because I think if you swat, I think that's easy foul territory. But yeah, I'll learn everything about it. I will be the next Dikembe Mutombo of 3v3 basketball. But yeah, no, this has been a super fun episode. I'm glad that we were able to kind of, I think we got to talk about everything, right? We got to talk about Summit. We got to talk about, own personal Melee journeys, and we just got to shoot the shit about it, whatever. I think this was really amazing. And, if anyone has not already made up their mind about who they're going to spend their votes on, I think this is a really great way of showing that. But yeah, before we leave, we got some plugs that we need to do. So Ringler, do you want to go ahead first? You want to, obviously we're all going to plug, Summit stuff, but if you have any personal plugs you want to make, now would be the time.
Yeah, I mean, my stream and my Twitter are the things.
Where can we find you?
Let me check. I think my Twitter is Ringler __ SSPM. Is that correct? Yes, it is. And then my Twitch is the same thing, but without the underscore. And I'll be streaming later tonight. Probably 30 minutes after we go off here. And I got a little bit of a surprise. I was thinking about running it here, but the other people trying to get voted in might be a little scared of what I got planned. Might be. Oh, he's gone. Oh no.
Did we lose?
But yeah, I've got something. I won't reveal it here. I'll reveal it on stream, but it'll be a good one. Lot of chances. Lot of ways this could go.
All right. Well, we can check you out there. If you guys want to go over and watch that after this episode's done airing live, you can do so at twitch.tv/RinglerSSBM. And then, if you're listening after this goes live, Thursday, what is it? Thursday the 2nd. Voting ends at 3 p.m. Pacific time and noon or 3 p.m. Eastern time, noon Pacific time. Make sure to vote there. Smash GG / I don't know, Summit 12, I'd imagine. But yeah, Free Palestine. What about you? Where can people find you?
I am Free Palestine RN on Twitter and Free Palestine Now on Twitch. I am live right now. I probably won't be too long after this. I'm not sure exactly. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, if I could be your guy for Summit, I would love that. But I'll be content with what happens either way. I'll be donating all my winnings. I know we get 0.7% of the pot if we even make it to this stage and lose. So I'll be donating all my winnings, whether I go to Summit or make it out or don't make it in. And so, hopefully we could do something either way, for the cause I'm trying to bring about. And so,
is there a specific cause that you're looking to donate to? Because I think that, if people, I think there's a lot of people in Melee who kind of agree with your general philosophy. And I think that'd be a cool thing to get the word out if anyone else wants to match anything or donate themselves.
I plan to donate to Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, PCRF. They do healthcare work for children in and around Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine who have no resources there. It's really costly and really, really difficult to fix things that we take for granted here due to the situation there. And so I'll be giving all I win. And hopefully if you guys have any extra money after all this Summit stuff, or even before, I think it's more important anyways in my mind to give if you can. And I really appreciate any and all support that anyone feels necessary to give. So thank you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to even speak about that. I do appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. If people want to go on it, I believe the website is pcrf.net. They can do so over there. Yeah. No, it's been really amazing to have both of you on. I think it's a really, really fun episode. I feel like I went into this thing, it was going to be really crazy, but I think it was just good. I don't think it was chaotic. I think it just ended up being really good. So I appreciate that. And yeah, if anyone wants to check out the episodes that we have of this podcast, you can do so live at twitch.tv/MeleeStats. If you want to check the episodes after they air, you can do so on the YouTube channel Melee Stats Archive. While you're over on YouTube, you can go check out Melee Stats. That's our main channel. That's going to be our long-form video content. And I believe, Edwin, we hit 200,000 for our Nintendo video, right?
Yes, we did. Thank you.
I just want to say I almost had a tear in my eye at the end. You guys panned out of the Net Play for Palestine tournament. It made me so happy. That actually might be my favorite achievement. I might take back the earlier question. I
that's
thought
a good
was
one.
Really,
yeah, I actually
really
was gonna. I was very surprised you didn't bring that up.
I wasn't
When you
even
said
thinking about
event-related.
that. So I was like, okay, but no. Now that I think about it, you brought it up. Yeah, that was. I remember in the moment looking at that, and I couldn't have been more proud of what we did, and seeing that in your video after watching all of it, I was like, that really was like so nice.
Yeah, and after the tournament, also, I want to mention, in case anyone missed it, I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah, of course.
Over the phone, talking about the tournament and sort of how important the cause of Palestinian liberation is and whatnot, and why people in Melee should care about it. And if any of you want to check out that conversation, that's on the Melee Stats website at meleestats.co.
I'm gonna change my answer too, because I think I got 25th at that tournament also.
Hell yeah.
25th master,
25th
baby.
Stage, 25th at both main stages, 25th there. Yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, if you want to check out what Edwin has to say over there, you can do so at meleestats.co. It's also where we're going to have When's Melee and Monday Morning Marth, the weekly articles that we put out. And if you want to find any, when we put those out, they're going to go on our Twitter. You can find it out there, and you can see our last night in Melee posts. If anyone, it's been a lot of Melee going on, a lot of LAN Melee coming back, a lot of online Melee still happening. So if you want to catch up to see what results are happening, you can do so over there. It's twitter.com/MeleeStatsPod. And, if you just love what we do in general, you can support us at patreon.com. Patreon.
Patriots.
Go donate any money you have to the New England Patriots. They need it.
Well, I was thinking just patriot.com definitely sounds like
it's a grifting website.
Yeah, a bit of a weird.
Yeah, put in your credit card information.
Yeah, don't worry about
Patriot.com, and don't worry what happens next. Any crazy charge you see is normal. You will get it back. No, if you want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/MeleeStats. And one last thing, I've mentioned it already, but smashgg/summit. Type that in, because that not only can you support the people who were lovely enough to be here today, but you can just see one of the most fun things about Melee. Man, that last day, it's gonna be stressful for you guys, but for everyone else, it's gonna be a blast. So you can check it out there if you want to throw your hat into the ring. Put your hand up for anyone in particular. You can do so then. Just make sure it's before 3 p.m. Eastern and noon Pacific, because after that, votes are final, baby. Yeah, I'm excited. Big day tomorrow, but I think you guys are gonna kill it. But I really appreciate you guys being on today. And yeah, if you guys at home like today's episode, next week we're gonna dive into the thing that we've been talking about this entire time. Summit season is upon us, and next week we're gonna have to talk about the thing at length. So I will see you guys then. Thanks for sticking around. Peace.
See you guys.